I had the Moderna second shot.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Dungeons and Degrees. My name's Adrian,
And I'm Alex.
and today we have a special guest. Special guest, introduce yourself.
My name's Alexis. Nice to meet everybody.
Gotcha.
Hello.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm currently a faculty member at the University of Phoenix. I have my PhD in counselor education. I have my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and so I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan, huge nerd, love Marvel stuff, things like that. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. The main thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you about was just kind of like this balance you have. As of right now, we have like three levels of education. Like, I have my bachelor's, Alex has her master's, and you have your PhD. And that's something I kind of want to achieve. Getting my higher ed and keep moving forward with my education and my kind of career goals. So I thought it would be interesting to bring on a fellow nerd, and talk about some like what it took, the balance you had to have between work and fun, and the I guess what you do, what you carry over now to your current lifestyle, essentially.
Yeah, so you want me to go first?
I guess, Alex, do you want to go first for Alexis?
No.
No, no worries.
I'll go first.
So-
No big deal.
I can go first.
Uh,
I
Put
just
you
want
on the spot, Alexis.
No, it's totally fine. So this is kind of what I do. So yeah, no, work-life balance. I think that's one of the trickiest things,
Oh,
and it
that's a good
gets a
question.
lot trickier the higher degrees you go. I remember my bachelor's degree. I wouldn't say it was pretty easy, but I definitely slacked off a lot more. I had a lot more free time, could hang out with friends, hang out with family, things like that. As soon as I hit my master's program and those reading materials came in and having to do so much more work, I really lost a lot of friends. I really stopped hanging out with people and things like that, which really sucked because I didn't have the time to hang out with anybody. And that really amplified when I got my PhD. I moved to a different city, so it was already hard enough because I didn't really have a lot of friends. So one way that I connected with my friends is through PC gaming and things like that. So that was actually around the time, I think my second year in my PhD program. A couple of friends from high school and a couple of friends that they met through playing League of Legends, we decided to create a D&D group just playing online through like Roll20 and D&D Beyond. And so that was really beneficial for me because it took me out of my head, so to speak, and I could just escape for a little bit and just really relax and things like that. And so, yeah, no, but it's really hard to kind of figure out that work-life balance, especially as you move on in your education, because there it can be so demanding. And so, one of the things that I do now to kind of maintain my work-life balance now that I've graduated is I teach 2 nights a week right now. So 2 nights a week I'm out from like 6 to 10. But those other nights, once I kind of wrap up for the day, I make sure to get on Discord with my friends, play some video games at least once a week. Actually, now twice a week, I'm playing D&D, one on Monday nights and one on Sunday nights. And then taking personal time to read. I'm still teaching myself the guitar, even though it's been like 7 years and I can only play one song, but things like that. So still trying to take care of myself, take time for myself and things like that. But it can be hard. And so
Oh, of course. As
Where
we
were you
go
when
ahead.
we started quarantine? Because I think that was one of the biggest things that I struggled with was having some sort of routine and like structure with my friends, and I feel like I haven't talked to a lot of them in over a year, and like how do you talk to them to begin with? And you're like, cool, I'm weird, and once again, friendless.
Yeah, I think quarantine, I think it hit people really hard because it was the first time really for a lot of us that we were forced to be introverted. And even as introverts, I think we all got tired of being introverted. And so it was really weird because we had to find new ways to connect with people. We couldn't go out, let's say, for coffee or for drinks or things like that. We couldn't go to dinner or have board game nights. We had to be really inventive. I think Jackbox probably soared in sales because everybody I knew was playing Jackbox. And so we all had to be really creative and really innovative in the way that we connected with people. And now that things are starting to open back up, depending on what state you're in, it's getting a little bit better, but we still have a long way to go.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've opened. Well, Governor Abbott basically said most things are opened up.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're in Texas, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Me and Alex are both Texas Tech alum. I guess I'll go, and then Alex, you'll go and talk about how you balance things out.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm just throwing this in your court too. Okay, Alex? Just giving you a heads up before
No,
you
no, no.
jump
You're
in.
that's fair. No, it's fair. Thank you for letting me in this fragile cognitive state. I appreciate
The
the
heads
warm up.
heard. No worries. Um, so I think that for me as an undergrad, I think that the biggest thing was like I did not care my first 2 years, unfortunately, as much as I should. Like I was, passing but not soaring, and I left school for 2 years and I came back. So my time management was like school when I'm at school, and then everything else, wherever the cards may fall. Not the best way to spend thousands of dollars on your education. um,
Mhm.
but I learned, I took a break. I worked 2 jobs just to support myself, and I'm like, this isn't what I want. I want to do more. I want to finish my degree. I want to, keep going further than what I have done. So I changed my tactics. I still go out, but I won't go out like every time someone says, "Hey, we're going out," and I said, "Yeah, let's do it." It's more like, let's see what we have first, or I'll come out later once I'm done. And sometimes I didn't even come out because I wasn't able to finish everything I needed to. I started prioritizing the things I needed to prioritize. I was really good with, I guess, I feel like D&D was like a big thing back when I was an undergrad first 2 years. Unfortunately, it kind of hindered me. I would work until like 2 a.m. and then me and my friends would play until the break of dawn, and we would go to the donut shop off of like 32nd Street, I think. Like it was just destroying my weekends. But, I learned and I became, structured, and other people were starting I started hanging out and like playing with people who wanted to focus on their education and wanted to focus on, I have to study, I have to do this. I'm like, you know what? Because you're gone and doing that, I should be doing the same thing. I started surrounding myself with those types of people instead of just like every night we're gonna drink kind of people. So I
Mhm.
just learned what my priority is were until my second half of my bachelor's. So it was a rough journey, but I made it to the end, and I'm working on trying to get into grad school. Hopefully, the following year after I work a little bit longer in my degrees field.
Cool. So, question for you, if you don't mind me
Go
asking.
ahead.
So, when you did do that transition between, like, okay, I really got to start taking school seriously and things like that, did you notice that there was a huge drop off within your friend group, or were you able to still be consistent with the amount of friends that you had, or things like that?
So when those 2 year in between years, I had naturally had falling off with those friend groups. I had moved back to San Antonio, moved back to Lubbock, and then stayed in Lubbock for a year, and then finally decided to go back for another half year in San Antonio, save up money, and then go back to school. So between that time where I was here and there and not always around my friends, the people that weren't going to be there or I had seen infrequently, just naturally just kind of fell apart. People started graduating within those 2 years that I was gone, and people were, going to different schools. So the friend group kind of changed and altered. there was that like core people that I still talk to today around, but usually it's just like I'm so used to having people come and go out of my life, like from like changing jobs or switching cities, because at a young age I moved a lot. It was job wise, not anything else. I mean, like military, but it was essentially I was so used to it. So when people fell off, it was like, okay, just we'll just keep going. It didn't really matter to me. And the types of people that I hung out with when I started to focus more heavily were the people who studied after work instead of when going out. I mean, I still hung out with those individuals, but it just wasn't the same. So yes, definitely the friend group did kind of disintegrate, but I think there's also a bunch of other factors that were playing into it as well.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah. And it kind of like when I switched jobs, it was harder to hang out with the people that I worked with consistently. When I started having different like I guess more intensive classes, the people who wanted to party all the time, I had to kind of cut them out because it was so tempting because I always wanted to be a good friend or they invited me, so why not? I didn't really have like a party lifestyle in high school, so when I came to college it was just so much easier to just like say yes because like wow, me the nerd.
Hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of going off of what you said. I remember my experiences, especially in grad school. Always felt guilty because I was always missing things that my friends invited me to, but I just couldn't go between working part time and then having to study for classes and things like that. Like friends would invite me out on the weekend. I'm like, I can't. I have a 15-page paper I need to write. I don't have the time, and so I remember not so much getting into arguments with people, but like losing a lot of friends because they were like they felt some sort of way, I guess, so to speak, that I wasn't hanging out with them. I'm like, if I could, I would. But it really made me realize who my closer friends were.
Okay, how does that sound?
Amazing.
Okay.
I think it was going through a different
I
input.
was going through my computer and I've been muting my microphone.
Oh, then
And
that's
it
why
just...
it doesn't mute because it's going through your computer.
Uh-huh.
Discord
Okay,
is
so
wonky sometimes.
yeah, I'm not about this right now. I don't have...
All right.
I remember days like this when I
Mhm.
was a communication major.
Oh
Oh
boy.
man. I will interrupt Adrian's rant.
Yeah, go ahead.
I absolutely did not have the same experience in college. I don't know how I have a master's degree some days. When I tell you, like, I did not really study. I think the only real studying I did was like a week before my comps for my master's degree, and I didn't have a thesis, so that's the only. I wrote 3 essays, and I had already talked to my graders about what my essays were going to be about. So really, we just worked on me saying those things that I had already said to them in meetings. I don't know if that instills fear in you or excitement or like what the fuck. But when I tell you I was a bad student, I mean like Adrian was like, "Yeah, I like started to turn down part." Absolutely not. Absolutely not did I turn down parties. The only like issue I had was like my own mental health, which is what took a turn, and that I could really chalk up to a lot of my like collegiate mistakes and even like high school. But if that doesn't help you, dear listener, I don't know what will, because you had two people who were like, "Yeah, I put school aside," and da 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 da. And then your girl Alex did not. But we have been on a giant life journey for the last 2 years, so do with that information as you will.
I mean,
Is that was
what?
that a flex?
I don't know.
Weird flex, but okay. No, I find that really interesting because I do have a couple of friends who just breezed by the master's program, and it seemed like they didn't have to put in any study time or anything like that. They just went about getting their master's, and so I envy those people. But yeah, no, that's really amazing.
It was not me trying to flex and be like, "Oh my god, that was such a good." Honestly, if I were to redo it, I'd be a nerd. I'd be like, "No, I don't need to hang out with these friends. I don't, I can focus a little bit better on school." I think in the long run it would have helped, but I mean, in the life that I currently in this existence in this
This
you know
timeline.
this timeline, I turn out pretty okay, even being an absolute mess up and being
Oh,
the worst child for such a long time. I know.
Pat, you'll be
Hashtag
fine.
counseling.
I think that the different journeys we've taken and we come out at the other end, it really just depends on what you take out of it at the very least. Like, did you learn something or did you just do it to get out the other end? There's definitely parts of what I've done is just to get to the other end, but I definitely think I did take some things from just studying and the people around me and how they acted and their journeys through the career fields that I kind of wanted to go through as well, and just those connections kind of really kept me going.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good way to put it. And I think another thing that's really important is that at the end of the day, you're happy where you're at too. I think a lot of times people end up, going through the grind of either an undergrad or grad school, and then end up like hating their new career or things like that, and they feel like they're stuck. And then it's like, was this all worth it in the end? And so, making sure that you're happy where you're at in the long run.
Yeah, and we've talked about it on here. Like, it took me a long time because I have a master's of elementary ed, and I was working in higher ed until January. And honestly, the last 4 months, my life has absolutely turned around because I'm working as a second grade teacher, and it's literally the best. Like, I can whine and complain like it's hard, and yes, it is hard. But honestly, at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. I don't want to be working with anything else. I had the opportunity to make my own hours and to work, you know, get paid for in a full 8 hour shift, but really only work 6 hours, which did not leave me fulfilled and exhausted like I am now, but like the good kind of exhausted. Like, oh, okay, I am really doing the thing I want. So, maybe ultimately I should have just studied. No, it's fine.
Let's switch it up to the other portion of this conversation. Let's talk Dungeons and Dragons.
The nerd part, yes.
All right. I'm just gonna say it right now. Curse of Strahd, and that's the
Yes.
main game I've been playing. Alex is starting something up. I don't.
I'm starting something every other week. We start next week. We had session 0. I'm super excited. I ended up rolling a wizard,
Ooh.
and she has real shitty wizard stats. So I may or may not be able to actually cast anything until I substantially level up. And, I'm here for the good story.
But
We also have 3 bards. 3 bards.
All the inspiration.
3 bards, no healing.
I mean,
it's quite the
that's what
party.
healing potions are for, right?
You have
That
3
is also what the DM said.
bards to make a band, and then they travel the country and they get money to buy healing potions. That's the
Yep.
whole gig.
That's the whole thing.
And what about yourself, Alexis?
So I currently have 3 characters, but one's kind of on hiatus right now. I'm playing a Triton Warlock. That is the one that's on hiatus. I'm also playing a variant human monk, and then in my kind of side campaign that we just started up, I'm a dragonborn arcane archer, and so have lots of things going on in my D&D world right now. But yeah,
All right, I have a question.
Do you ever feel like
You go first. Both
do you
trying
ever feel
to
like
jump
it's
in.
hard to like maintain all of those storylines in your head, and then I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Do you have any problems? Is it just like I
no,
like
absolutely. I am not the notes keeper for either one of my campaigns because I would get them totally confused. I'm just lucky enough to keep my backstory straight between the two, and so yeah, it gets confusing at times. One of our campaigns we record for like our private use, so that way we don't have to all take notes because we're all terrible at taking notes. And then the other one one of our good friends is a really good notes taker, so he's been designated to take all the notes for the campaign.
That's
That's
good.
fair. You know
Yeah.
what? Everyone's got to have their strengths and weaknesses, and at least you've identified. We just need to record this because nobody's gonna be able to remember.
Yeah.
How about like, do you ever kind of like do you do voices? That's a first for question.
So I start off with voices for like the first session and a half, and then I forget about them or forget how to do them. I'm like, wait, am I getting my two characters confused? And then I just revert back to my regular voice. My Triton was supposed to have an old English accent, but that got annoying really quickly. Not for my party members, but for me. And so I quickly scratched that. Sometimes he has a southern accent because one of our players in the party he's giving his character a southern accent, and I'll just draw from it. But
You'll draw from it.
yeah, exactly. But I see what you did there.
I'm completely lost.
Laughs chaotically. Adrian, a southern draw,
Oh,
like
I'm dumb.
the way you
Okay.
speak. There you go. I'm sure there's
but
one dear listener that needed the
that needed
explanation
the
of the pun.
explanation, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but when it comes to doing voices and things like that, I pretty much just stick to my own voice, and so
All right, well that cancels out. Do you ever get your voices confused? Okay. What's it called? I have that big problem as the DM where I'm just like, it's my voices are just slightly different of my voice, and I try my best to keep the same accent for people, but then I cannot keep it the same every time. My fake accents are just super fake. There's no like chord to them, so it's so difficult.
See, we were
yeah,
playing a homebrew, and with the homebrew that I was, every voice had a distinct character name with it. So, like, we had the whole cast of Jersey Shore in one of the dungeons. So, literally, every voice was some variation of the iconic Jersey Shore characters. People? Characters.
both.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. So I'm on the other end. Like, make it so stupid that I will remember based on the genre that I've pulled from for that like area.
You mean like sea bass?
Okay,
Do you think
sea
sea bass is
bass.
ridiculous though? A little.
I love sea bass. Okay.
Sea
Sea
bass is a
bass
turtle.
is
That
a turtle.
that we play on our Patreon people.
Ding
And
ding 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 ding.
yeah, and so that storyline should either have come out or will be coming out. The two one shots that we have recorded. And hopefully
See,
the people will understand sea bass.
sea bass is just pulled from a part of my personality that is very anxious, but also wants to be a badass. So like, I kind of like the whiny voice, and I really did it jokingly, and I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna stick to this because it's now being recorded. I think if it wasn't, I would have not. That's fine. But because he's got like this really whiny voice, and then like I have to sit back from the microphone because there's no other way that I can get the sound of my voice to go anywhere besides like the top part of my throat into my nose, but not quite super nasally, but like
No, I totally love it.
pause. Yeah, see, and then you can pause in like really random places, and it sounds like the character, and it's not my brain not working. But bam, run with your
Yeah,
strengths.
I totally love it, and I think it's one of those situations where it's like, man, I made mistakes with this accent, but I'm totally committed to it. So it's admirable that you've stuck with it, because I totally scrapped mine, but I got annoyed with mine. I'm like, no.
It helps that I can't do literally any accent except for like a Southern, a Texan, and like a shitty Bostonian because my dad's from Boston.
Nice.
That's my
Yes.
repertoire. My theater people, like my directors, all fucking loved me because we did Jekyll and Hyde, and there was no fucking way I was going to do a British accent. So I got lots of coaching there. I did not appreciate it. I still can't do it. I still 100 cannot pull it out. Alex, you've watched all that Harry Potter and you just love Hermione Granger. Yeah, I fucking know that. But my family moved to America in, I don't know. So also, R.I.P. Prince Philip. King Philip?
Yes,
He's
King.
Prince.
Ooh, Prince.
Is he
I don't
Prince?
know.
He's
Yeah.
I think
Prince.
he's a Prince.
Yeah, he's married to the Queen, which I never really got that when I heard about it today. But
It's because you need to watch The Crown on Netflix.
okay. Where's our Netflix money? Anyways, so you put in your personality. You said anxious personality. Do you tend to do that? Like put a piece of your personality into your character, Alexis?
I think so. I think it's like part of the. I live out parts of me that I kind of wish I embodied a little bit more. At least when it comes to like my more melee type characters. Wish there was a little bit more of a badass and things like that. So my monk has a little bit more, not so much charisma, but just willing to like throw himself out there and take on the world and things like that. And so he has a little bit more attitude than probably some of my other characters. Definitely more attitude than me as a person has. But yeah, I mean, I would say that I put a little bit of myself in each one of my characters. I think it's impossible not to. We all have a little bit of ourselves in each of our characters that we play, and so.
I also think that's an interesting addition that you also added in. We talked to Lee, and they and I had another conversation similar to that. Like, I want to play a character that maybe has a part of my personality that I would want to play with, but in a low value, low key way. So I'm not worried about it being actually applied to me, the person. It's applied to me, the character. That like subtle psychological way of you are who you play.
And I think that it's like it's a way to externalize yourself for just a second, and so like it's a good way to practice different characteristics that you want to embody more, so that way if you're a little bit too shy to do it in real life, you get it out of your system in a a more controlled environment with people you're comfortable with and things like that, until you're ready to unleash it to the rest of the world.
So D&D is just workshopping our personalities for everyone
I
else.
mean, yes, totally.
You heard it here first from an actual PhD doctor. So, obviously, with the doctor in his name, it's true.
By the way, how does that feel now that you can say I'm Doctor? Oh fudge, I forgot the last name. Sorry.
Croffie. I don't think I said it. Croffie is my last name. Yeah, no. It feels weird because like I'm not the type of person to be like, call me doctor, unless it's to my students. But no, I mean, I totally joke around with all my friends that I only got my doctorate because I wanted the poofy hat, and I wanted to go around saying that I'm the doctor. Like
I love it.
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I mean, if I don't know if it's really hit yet because I only graduated December of 2019. But I mean, some days it's cool, and then some days it's like there's a lot of responsibility to this. I just want to like take a nap.
So you also graduated with that imposter syndrome
Oh yeah,
certificate.
totally. Yes. And I still wear it like a badge to this day. So.
Not to like psychoanalyze you because obviously, but let's do it. I wonder if I wonder if like you playing it off with your friends is kind of one of those moments of like, oh yeah, I'm like kind of proud of this, but like I'm not gonna tell you I'm proud of it, but like I'm kind of proud of it, but like maybe that's just too showy off, but like, bro, fucking did it. You got the poofy hat. You have the stupid ass fucking sleeves. You have the ability to just kind of be a dick. Not a dick, but like a dick, right?
Wait, what do you mean? Is that what that? Now I want it more.
I know. I also wanted the puffy hat. I also want the sleeves. However, I fucking hate writing. And so the idea, once again, of a thesis is so overwhelming that I'd have to be like super into whatever the fuck it was I was going to do my thesis about, because it's daunting to write more than 2 pages in my brain.
Hey, just make it on something that you really enjoy. So a lot of the writing that I do is on pop culture and counseling. And so I currently have a manuscript right now with a buddy of mine. We wrote it on using different counseling theories with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I have a publication with another colleague of mine on using Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in counseling. I've presented on a whole bunch of other different pop culture things and counseling techniques. And so just make it your own. I'm trying to figure out how I can incorporate Dungeons and Dragons into it, just so I can be like, hey, I have a publication on Dungeons and Dragons, like ultimate nerd status. But find something you're really passionate about. That's what I'll tell you if you're going to go for a PhD, because that dissertation, if you don't have something you're passionate about, it will drain you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried
amazing.
about. What am I passionate about? Fucking Dungeons and Dragons and children development.
There you go. Make it happen.
No. No. I do it a
Yes.
lot. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
like what would I do like in my current, what could I do, because then I'm using my like students as like test subjects or whatever.
That doesn't. That's unethical.
Don't ever refer to this podcast. I just fucked it all up for all of us. Like, yeah, fuck your research standards. I wouldn't actually do that in case future Alex ever decides to get her PhD. I apologize. I was just really insecure at the moment. You go, girl. You got this. But like, I'm not gonna bring it to the inner city of Dungeons and Dragons, because once again, I've got to explain a lot of things, and then like, we're gonna bring a slightly violent game to a slightly violent group. I don't know. Maybe it would work. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking because it sounds like it could make it work.
She's slowly developing her thesis.
All I'm hearing right now is excuses.
Oh, Alex.
I'm full of. That's my manuscript. I'm just full of excuses. I bet you I could write a whole dissertation on that.
Well, that's a lot of excuses. Start right now. But I think that this connection of like do what you want towards like I guess your dissertation, your papers, you know. Sorry, one episode of Ned's Declassified where it's just like use your procrastination for you, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try my best. And it kind of has some sort of root of just like something you're passionate about. Duh, just do it. So like I think that there's some sort of truth in that. Just like the thing that you are gonna write about, don't make it boring. Make it something that you want to actually write, something you want to put the time in, something that you kind of like look forward to. I know it's work, but something that's more yours than anything else. So I think that's just really cool. Your counseling stuff and, you know, connecting it to these pop culture references.
Then you get an excuse to just watch all your pop culture things and be like, oh yes, this is for science.
See, this is exactly where I was coming from. I'm like, if I'm gonna do all this boring research, I might as well have fun with it.
For science.
I absolutely love it. And gives me hope.
I mean, I think if anything, that's our fucking, like, if we're gonna talk generational, like, those are the fucking people above us who, rather than allowing us to join the workforce when we were going to, we all went right back into school, and now we're doing ridiculous things with our degrees that honestly make us happy and right it in our millennial whatever lifestyle. Like, it makes sense. I want to dissect. I want to read the things about Joker's 17,000 different personas and the ways that we portray anti-villains, or not anti-villains, those are heroes.
You mean the anti-heroes?
That second COVID shot hit.
Yeah.
It hits
Yes.
different.
It hits different. The anti-heroes. Anti-villains. That's for you, Skylar. I hope you're listening. That brain fart's for you. I lost my whole train of thought. I'm going to go back. Bye.
You're out? Okay. I guess I'm jumping in.
Tap out. Tap out.
You lose the train, you lose everything. It's off the bridge.
Oh no.
I think
Not the bridge.
It's very unfortunate, but that's usually how the trains go. From all the movies I've seen, bridges getting collapsed is the biggest way all trains go.
This is accurate.
This is accurate. He's seen so many
This is
movies.
our pop culture
Am I
pop
not
culture
a pop culture
expert.
expert?
Yeah, there you go.
We can't deny it. Uh, Look, when you come out with that D&D publication, we would love to have you back on to talk about it, okay? And
Oh
geek out
yeah.
about it.
If it happens, I will definitely let you both know.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Well, some of your research is with like community building, right?
A little bit. So really why I started doing a lot of pop culture stuff is because one of my research studies in my dissertation, I did my dissertation on international students, and basically I found that using pop culture references was kind of a double-edged sword, but a lot of the times it helped them understand better different teaching concepts. And so I figured if it's helping international students understand different teaching concepts and things like that, then it can help American students as well. And so that's why I've been focusing a lot more on doing pop culture stuff in counseling.
I think that, I mean, what got you kind of interested in the international community in for your dissertation? Why was that the
Yeah.
people you focused on?
So, couple things. After I graduated from my undergrad, I did a month-long study abroad in Japan. It was really cool. But when I was there in Japan, I had it was actually about 6 weeks, but I had a lot of culture shock, and I really felt a lot of isolation. And there was no like services or anything like that that I knew of to reach out to kind of help me transition to my time in Japan. I had a host family and things like that, so I wasn't completely isolated, but I remember just being like in my host family's house and just feeling really isolated, not really knowing what to do, and just missing everybody from home. And so I probably didn't enjoy Japan as much as I could have. Those first 2 weeks were amazing, and then that kind of culture shock hits in. And I was like, I really miss home. I just want like Kentucky Fried Chicken, you know? And so it made me start thinking, what's it like for those people are who are studying in the United States for 4 years, 8 years, 10 years at a time and don't really get the opportunity to go home to go see their family? And what sort of services are we providing them? And so that was part of the reason why I decided to study international students. And then the second part is my parents are actually from Ghana. And so they were both international students when they came to the United States. And so wanting to know more about their experiences as students when they first arrived here in the United States kind of led me to study international students. And so those are the two main reasons.
Well, that's nice. It's like a direct correlation from your experience and then also a correlation to your past.
Yeah.
So just also to embetter the future. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I find, I mean, because like if you're gonna write a whole dissertation about it, you gotta be passionate. So, and I love listening to whatever anybody's passionate about. When you start hearing the other people's wants or needs or what they want for the future, it just, I don't know. To me, it's very inspiring.
I think that's really important to remember sometimes because we can get so stuck in, especially in our fandom, in our more of a nerdy culture of just like, oh, you don't know who blank is? Well, poo poo on you. And you're like, okay, but like, this person's really passionate about something. Why don't you just listen to them rather than trying to judge them, rather than trying to control it, rather than doing all of these things? Why are we not celebrating that? And I think sometimes it gets a little lost. I don't have the reasoning why, but the gatekeeping culture, and maybe that's because I have more of a, I have a female experience of being in nerd culture that it's very gatekeeping and like, oh, you like to do that, but you don't know everything. Well, bitch, I don't know everything about me. So like, I'm here with myself 24/7. You think I'm going to know everything about whatever it is that I'm obsessed with? Like, sorry, bro, no.
There's levels to obsession, and also times where people start.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm terrible at Harry Potter trivia, but I do enjoy the books, and so
Where everyone can name every single Granger, and I'm just like, yes. There's the Ron, and that. Are you freaking out right now?
No, it's the fact that you said Granger and
yeah.
it's Hermione, and the only Granger we really talk about is like Hermione and her parents, but you're thinking Weasley,
I was.
and it was so cute.
I
love
was
it.
about to say Hermione, and I'm like, that's not right. Oh, whatever. See, bad, so bad right here. What a great example we just witnessed all together now.
But that's okay. Like, I absolutely love Harry Potter. I don't. The problem is, like, for my brain to start thinking about exactly what I know about it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. My brain shuts down. So it could be, that you have it locked in there if we were gonna have a conversation, maybe. But like, for me, I have a lot. I have 2 Harry Potter tattoos. Like, I know a bunch of shit about Disney, and I know a bunch of shit about stupid fucking shit. Granny things, right? Cross stitching. But like, if you ask me what my favorite pattern is of like cross stitching, be like, I don't fucking know. I don't. Yes, there. I. You know. Sorry. That was yeah. Even like I have this last tangent. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Not sorry. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a pescatarian, honestly. I eat seafood, fine. I'm really weird with chicken. I will incorporate chicken more into my diet because I need it dietarily. And fish and shrimp are like hard to find or whatever, or ethically sourced. Anyways, but I just remember being a kid and being like, well, if you're a vegetarian, like, what do you eat? And then I'd look at them and be like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what foods there are that are vegetarian friendly.
I just got here. Stop berating me.
I don't even know. Like, do you eat hot dogs? I don't know. What are, maybe? No, I don't eat those. No.
Pobrecita. All right, let's wrap this up. I think we went we said hot dog. I think that's the furthest thing from D&D we can get.
Hot dog. We should have a measure every like episode to see how far away from D&D we got, and like, what is that distance? How long did it take for us to get there?
I guess
we derail?
Yeah.
How many degrees away are we from our core topic?
Oh no. The 12 degrees away from D&D.
Exactly. And then we're in
We could
Kevin
market
Bacon.
We could be the leading experts, Adrian.
That's a lot. That's a lot to ask from me or any of us right now.
I'm a very simple man.
But yeah, is there anything before we wrap this up? Is there anything that you want to plug, Alexis?
No plugs for me.
Gotcha. Okay, no worries.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, listeners, for another episode of Dungeons and Degrees. Follow us wherever pods are cast. Rate us 5 stars wherever you can cast those pods. And don't do anything less, because that's kind of a dick move, and don't do that. We now have open our Discord up to all people, all humans, all non-humans, whatever you associate with. We're here for you. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. We appreciate every amount of dollars you give us per month. That allows Adrian and I to continue doing this, even though it is outside of our real life jobs. But I love it, so we'll be here as long as you are here. If you get your COVID shot and you have your second shot, just send us a screenshot and we will send you a free sticker. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
That's it.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Adrian.
And I'm Alex.
Go have some fun.